Hello, podcast listeners. How are we all doing? This week, I'm thrilled to bring you my conversation with the organizer of the world's longest hockey game, Dr. Brent Saik. Every few years, Brent brings together a group of 40 players who have or have been closely impacted by cancer to participate in the 10-day-long event. The guys get older and the game gets longer, but since 2003, the group has raised over $3.4 million for cancer research. Brent lost both his father and his first wife to cancer, and since then he's made fundraising an integral part of his life, and his efforts to date have saved an incredible amount of children's lives. Pediatrics is a specialty in terms of what they fundraise for. This year the game brought in over $1.2 million, bringing the total raised since its inception to $4.6 million. Special shout out to TSN's Dustin Nielson for his first place fundraising total of $66,035 this year. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Dr. Brent Saik. So sitting here, we're live with Dr. Brent Saik. Thank you for making the time for me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
You've been having a lot going on lately. How's life?
Busy. I'm resting. I'm sitting with a box of Kleenex beside me.
Still feeling the shivers of 10 days out in the cold?
Yeah, it's the cold, and then we had the warm weather, and then we ended up just, it's lack of sleep and everything else. Your body at some point shuts down. And my wife and her good ideas, she decided to take us away for the weekend after the hockey game, and but we went to Vegas, so we didn't rest much there. So now I'm resting. Now I'm just starting my rest.
Right, sort of the after party that is obligatory, but right. You don't necessarily want to be there.
No, exactly.
So a big reason why I wanted to chat with you today is obviously the world's longest hockey game, but just for a little context for the audience, want to kind of place you in terms of what you do and where you're from originally and how you got into doing what you do right now.
Yeah, from Edmonton originally. My parents were from Innisfree, a little bit east of here, so we still hobby farm out there.
What's hobby farm?
Hobby farming, that's a quarter section of land, so not enough to make a living, but just enough to enjoy. I enjoy farming. That's probably my favorite thing to do, is just being out there and seeding and cultivating. Like just the process of doing that's my kind of relaxation and lake lot type of thing.
That's your zen.
That is my zen.
Your meditation. What do you grow out there?
Usually wheat and canola.
Okay.
Yeah, and that. But when you're out there, there's no noise. You can have an acreage or whatever around the city close enough, but ultimately you're by yourself. And nighttime, there's no lights, so great place to relax. So there, but basically grew up on the north side of Edmonton, and went to high school at Lizard, and then decided that I might try a baseball career. So I got signed by the Braves and went down to Portland, went into optometry school, and as my dad put it when I first got down there, and he looked at some of the other players, he just said, better get an education. so I did.
So the Atlanta Braves?
Yeah.
And their farm team's in Portland?
No, when you get signed by them, they'll pick a school for you to go to, whatever it is. So go play college ball, and that's sort of the route that I had taken.
Yeah.
And,
what position did you play?
First base.
First base? And at what point was there an aha moment where you're like, yeah, I think he's right? Or was it when he said
that?
No,
it was pretty much the first day I went down there. I thought I was good when I was coming from Alberta, and like, I'm a stud now. I'm going down to play ball. And I got there and realized I can't do this for a living. But it was nice. I got some schooling paid for and enjoyed the experience. I'm a huge proponent of that. If you can go through college through athletics, that's a good learning tool.
Right.
It teaches you a lot more than most things. You've got to be able to be committed to your schooling plus your well, in my case, plus baseball, and try to get both done as best as you can.
Yeah, I think often there's times where a student will focus more on the athletics than the academics, or I don't think it's typically vice versa. But you see some real studs coming out that can do well in both, and I think there's no reason that learning how to be dedicated and motivated can help you in both.
Absolutely.
So you went to optometry school, and then when you're finished, did you move back to Edmonton?
Yeah, straight back. Well, while I was in optometry school, my dad had passed away, so I actually had to take about almost an extra year of optometry school, because I had moved while he was doing his treatments and stuff. We had actually gone to Mexico to try some alternative treatments because he had terminal cancer. So in that time, I was taking some optometry courses actually while living in Tijuana.
So by correspondence is different now than it was back then? How did you take correspondence?
What it was is I had my teachers just basically give me the books, and I would fly home from Tijuana to write the tests, and then go back again, and just kept doing that for as long as I could. And,
wow.
And so I was about a good year plus. And
what kind of, sorry to interrupt, but what kind of experimental treatment was he having then?
Leotrol is the name of the drug for cancer. That it's basically a drug that it boosts your immune system. I mean, this is 20 years ago. This was sort of an experimental deal and not approved in Canada or US or wherever. And now there is talk of that. Like one of the big ways that we try to cure cancer is through your own immune system.
Right.
So and that's basically what the treatment was down there, is super boost your immune system so that it can kill the cancer cells on its own.
So was it used in conjunction with chemotherapy or radiation?
My dad had done it. I mean, they had told my dad that there wasn't really a lot that they could do, but they did what they could through chemo and radiation, and then at that point they said there's no more chemo and radiation and whatever it is that we can give you. So the decision was just to head down and try this. I mean, when you're told that and you've got 6 months to live, you pretty much say, I'll do what I can to hang on for as long as I can. And it was good. Like he lasted almost 3 years, when it shouldn't have been that long, and it was a great 3 years. So
did he stay down in Mexico the whole time?
We'd go to Mexico for short periods of time, then come home, but we'd have to go back every few months to Mexico. So when they would go back home, I'd go back to school, and so it was tough going through that. And then as soon as I graduated, my dad had already passed away, and I had to come home and start working and get things organized at home.
And so how was it that you got professionally connected to so many sports?
So when I came, the school that I went to, one of their side sort of studies that you can take is sports vision, which in essence is you're training an athlete no different than training their arms or legs. You can train the eyes to have better hand-eye coordination, track objects better, that kind of stuff. So I took extra courses within the sports vision training, and then came back, and because baseball is my love, I went to the Trappers, who were here in Edmonton at the time, and I had loosely known Orr Franchuk, which is a pretty big baseball name around Edmonton.
All right.
And I just remember him from Orr Franchuk Baseball School when I was 12 years old. He was teaching these things. So I went up to him and I said, does anybody do your eyes? Do you have a sports program? And they didn't really have, so I kind of got my foot in the door that way, and took a few years before I could expand that program. And then
how do you, when you're pitching that sports vision kind of sector, what do you show them? Like, what's the demonstration to show that this is effective?
Yeah, it's different then than it is now, because everyone knows it works now.
Of course.
Like now it's mainstream.
Yeah, back then you're pioneering it, basically.
Yeah, like it was. We knew it worked. The one thing that we had, well, I had in my back pocket, was Nike was really big into sports vision. Nike subsidized, I don't know how much, to our school to do the sports vision program. So all the stuff that I was doing at school was already done through Nike. A lot of golfers, a lot of basketball players. Hockey and baseball weren't quite there yet, but in that program, you're showing studies. And the math, if you just think about it, you tell somebody, well, I don't care how fast your legs can move, if you can't see where you're going, it's not going to get you there.
Right.
So, and it's easy enough to show. once you get past the point of having that conversation and then showing some devices, I would have people come to my office here and say, I'll put you through a program. Mm-hmm. I'll show you what it's like. Do this. And a lot of times the way it was actually, it was these gentlemen, their kids. It was, well, let's try my kid on this.
Right.
Like, let's guinea pig the kids on this stuff, right?
Nothing to lose at that point, right?
Yeah. And in doing that, it's sort of one athlete at a time, and it takes that slow process. Mm-hmm. You'll train one athlete. One athlete will say, yeah, I really want to do that, because it wasn't mandatory that everyone, it still isn't. So one athlete will do it and see this huge improvement. And then another athlete will say, well, what are you doing different? Well, I'm doing this. And do
they want to share? Do they want to share the secret? I guess if it's a teammate or an opponent.
Yeah, that's true.
So what kind of things will you do with them? Like, what are some of the initial exercises or routines?
Yeah, it's very sport specific, and even more so to that, it's more individual position per sport. Right. So if you're a pitcher and you're not hitting much, there's certain things I'm just not going to show you.
Yeah.
If we use baseball, for example, hitting's kind of the key for us to work on.
Right.
And step one would be for me to show how your eyes track, or how quickly you can pick up a target when it's moving at you. Mm-hmm. So there's computerized devices that you would have to look at, and for instance, a ball, it'll have numbers on it. So it's coming at you at a certain rate of speed through a monitor, and you have to tell me what the numbers are.
Yeah.
As you train that skill, we'll say you did this many numbers at this speed. Well, now we've trained a skill and you're this many numbers at this speed.
Okay, interesting.
And the thing with vision training in general is it's very very number specific. So it's not something where, how do you think? I wouldn't ask guys. I wouldn't ask, do you think it helps?
Yeah. I
can show you that you've improved in these skills since you've been working on this stuff.
It's completely objective, not subjective at all.
Absolutely. So.
Again, it's not like you can see improvement, right? I mean, so to speak, like you're not seeing a muscle get bigger or more defined.
Yeah.
And when you're training, this is super interesting to me, so I'm going to ask this question. It might be dumb, but when you're training the eyes, is it more of the sort of the muscular response, the actual eyes moving, or is it more neural processing that you're developing?
So good question. I know I can train the muscles. I can't prove I can train neural.
Okay.
And that science isn't something we've been able to say, yes, that helps. If anything, that would be the sort of subjective part of it. But what I know I can train is the muscles in your eye are similar to all muscles in your body. We can make them stronger. We can make them move faster. And that's the key. If you can move your eyes faster, if you can focus on a target quicker, that's really what you're trying to do in all sports, pretty much.
Have you ever come across an athlete that's been like the Michael Jordan or the Wayne Gretzky of like eye development? Has there been any that are just off the charts, like compared to the rest of the guys?
So Michael Jordan's an interesting one, obviously through Nike, and this is 20 some years ago. So he was big into this at the time. And Michael Jordan had the best eyes of any athlete Nike has ever put through these tests. They didn't train him. They just said, you have this. You're as far as you can get to.
Come on.
And where you need to be. Yeah.
Really?
So Michael Jordan had better than 20/10 vision. So just his sight on its own without any extra exercises or anything is better than most people. And then when they were putting him through this program at Nike, they said, yeah, this is just, we have nothing to teach you.
Right, that's unbelievable. So despite all the mention of hard work and 1,000 free throws a day or 10,000 or whatever it is, there still is that element of innate talent.
Well, see, I agree. The one thing I think of with that, if Michael Jordan worked harder than most people, part of what he's doing is working his eyes as well. Like that activity is just doing it. And you can never go back in time and say, well, if he didn't do this 1,000 times, he'd still be good because of his eyes, or vice versa. But you're right. I mean, it's a pretty strong correlation to say that. I haven't seen Gretzky's eyes, but I'm assuming you hear about how his peripheral vision was amazing, and used to see reflections in the glass and whatnot. So talking about that person as well as the top of his game.
I've even seen him in rooms, like noticing people walk in, like almost behind him. Like I've seen that, like eyes in the back of your head, but in like a social situation. It's pretty remarkable.
So that skill we can't measure. We can sort of measure what your peripheral vision is, but in essence, if to the degree that we have, if you see everything fine, but it just people can see more.
Right. Yeah. So tell us how the world's longest hockey, that's quite a title. And it's very definitive. It leaves no room for misinterpretation. How did it all come about for you?
So through my dad, when we're back here at home at the Cross Cancer Institute, he always, well, as anyone, always struggled with having kids there. So, pardon me. So as he's going through the hospital and I'm taking him there, he just said, just keep doing stuff in your life that you can to try to keep kids out of this hospital. So that was a fundraising thing that started when my dad was ill and I didn't really know what I was going to do. When I started working at optometry at a clinic in Vegreville, and we would do these red-eye baseball tournaments, did a curling thing, we did golf tournaments. So the general things that we all try to raise money in. And it was a lot of fun, but I was very frustrated because most of the tournaments cost me money. I didn't raise any money, and it just wasn't something that I could get over the bubble on making a difference with.
What was the biggest expense? Just venue rental? Or?
Venue, and it's expensive to put on golf tournaments. And, I'm not, I don't have the resources to call in auction items. I just don't have that type of resource to make a difference. Some golf tournaments can make $1 million, and that's just not going to happen with who I'm trying to ask for sponsorship and etc. Right. So but it was good. We did our best, and I don't regret it at all. And then had moved, and so I'm in Sherwood Park now, just a little east of Sherwood Park, and kind of hit that point in life where I've never played drums and I've never played hockey. So I bought a drum kit, and I asked my wife if I could build a hockey rink. We had an acreage.
Before you'd ever even played?
I've never played hockey.
Unbelievable.
And we were just playing, and so we built this hockey rink, and we were playing with my buddies, and some police officers came, and the fire department, so they were kind of having a little scrimmage game, and it was a great time. And we realized we had just played hockey for almost 12 hours. Really? And sitting around having a beer after and going, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was a game on the Red Deer River that they were kind of promoting. It was sort of just a pond hockey type of thing that they were going to play 24 hours for a fundraiser. And we just kind of sat around and said, I think this is how we can raise money.
Yeah.
So
it just clicked.
Yeah, it was like, what's the world's longest hockey game? So, we're still at the point where I don't have a smartphone. I'm not looking at this. Is years
What year
ago.
was this? This was 02 or 3?
02 was the idea.
Yeah.
And we played in 03. Yeah.
Right, so you're not just pulling up Google and or asking Siri where the longest hockey game has gone on.
So whatever, we looked into it, and it was something like 70-some hours. Got it started, and we wanted to raise $50,000.
How'd you pick that number?
And just that was always what I was trying to do for each golf tournament, but I could never hit. Sometimes you make 10, sometimes, but 50 was that's a good number to raise, and I think we could be very proud of that. So looked up the rules. It's 40 players, so I said each player, it's $1,000 to play.
Right.
So I don't care if you raise it, I don't care what you do, but it's $1,000 to play. So we had pretty much some guys raised more, and so
we're 80% of the way there.
Yeah,
already.
So we've got our 50,000 before we play, and then it was just fun. Okay, we raised our money. Let's go have some fun.
It's amazing.
And then the cameras started coming, and that's really what changed it, because random people, a DJ came from Mr. Entertainment that still DJs for every game.
Yeah.
The cameras came, and all of a sudden we're on the news, and we didn't expect any of this. And people are dropping off cash, and well, I remember it was pretty wild. I had 2 garbage cans of cash in my bedroom upstairs. We had no way to collect the money. We weren't expecting to collect money.
This is all in year 1?
Yeah, it was the first game. So we raised, I think it was about 100 and some thousand. I can't remember exactly.
Which would have just blown you away at the time, right?
That was pretty wild. So I said, wow, we got to do this again. And just before the game started, as things were getting going, unfortunately my wife had got diagnosed with cancer, and then had passed away a few months after that. So now I'm in. Like,
you're fully in, all in on this cancer research.
This is something that my dad got me an idea. See, I always cry. I've just been telling this story 1,000 times. I apologize, but
no problem.
But going through that, and just seeing what she had to go through, I had a little baby, and that's it. Just turned into a life decision that I can't stop. So we have another game. Obviously, same players. I moved to a different spot. We built a little better rink, because the first rink, it had just a 2x4s against some plywood. We had no heat. It was only 80 hours.
Yeah.
But, we had no heat, and then next one, okay, we need a little better shed. We need to figure out heat in there, because we're going to play more hours, and et cetera, et cetera.
What was the goal in year 2?
Well, I got to get the math right. Year 2 was 10 days, because what had happened, that was 05. Was that when the lockout was? Yeah, 05 was the lockout. So that was our hockey fans' stance to 10 days, because an NHL player will roughly play 240 hours of hockey in a season.
Right.
So if you break it down, we said, well, we're going to do 240 hours in a row.
Consecutively.
Yeah, because there's no hockey at the time.
Right.
Just the way it works, said, well, maybe we'll get more media, maybe who knows what will happen. And we raised $800,000.
In year 2.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. So you took a year, 04 you took a break, right?
Yeah.
And then 05 you did that one.
Yeah.
And then has it been every consecutive year, every few years? Or?
No, then I moved again. And so it's been kind of whenever I get a rink built.
Yeah.
I'm not building anymore. I'm
right.
done with that. But
you're planning to move anytime soon?
No, I'm done with that. We're set up now. And so then moved, and then another game was $1 million something, and $1 million, and 6 games later, I think this one we raised 1.2 million.
1.2, yeah, that's the number I saw. And then something remarkable happened too, right? You had someone call in.
Well, yeah. So we had. I wish I knew this lady or gentleman who did this, but I have no idea who it is.
Even you don't know?
No, I don't know who.
So who knows? Who's the one person that knows?
The ACF would have to know, because
Alberta Cancer Foundation.
Yeah, they know who it is. I'm assuming, unless somebody just dropped off cash. Like, I don't know.
But they said they'd match every individual donation.
Yeah, so what had happened was the check basically came out to almost $400,000 of individual donations.
Wow.
So it's crazy.
So is that tacked onto the 1.2, or does the 1.2 include that?
I think, because it's still to be tallied, I think with that, I think we might even be close to 1.3. I'm not sure exactly. We'll know probably in a month, because I still have
trash buckets of cash.
Yeah, exactly. I still have checks here from patients that have dropped off. There's still money at the ACF through things they haven't even gone through yet. So yeah, hopefully get another 100,000.
So does the money raised go towards a specific segment of cancer research, or?
Yeah, it's always been directed towards pediatric cancer. That was the one thing that again my dad had said, try to sort through. And each time, the first piece of equipment that we paid that 80-some thousand for, it's a centrifuge for kids with liver cancer. Now, kids with liver cancer is very rare, but they die, unfortunately, if they get liver cancer, because there's no way to treat that, because this is the strangest comment, but there's not enough kids with liver cancer to figure out how to treat it.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's just cost benefit analysis.
Well, it's a craziest thing. But there's this machine that that could never get on the hit list to buy. Right. So when they told me that, I said, well, we'll buy that machine.
Yeah.
That's what I want to buy. And then we bought that machine, and they said they figured it saved 11 lives that month.
That month,
yeah.
Do you have a running tally of that?
I know. I don't want that tally.
Yeah.
You know that they didn't only use it in Edmonton. Obviously, it was used all around Canada there for a while, and I hope that just that small expenditure of 80,000, whatever it was, and knowing how much it helped, it was able to get to other places.
Right.
So,
of course.
Yeah. And then everything's been a machine. The interesting thing this year, for this past game, because we've done a LINAC accelerator, it's called, and then the LINAC accelerator times 20 type of thing. These things. If you go to the Cross, and I hope you never go there, but you'll see World's Longest Hockey Game on these rooms, because that's the equipment that we bought.
How much say do you get in what the money's spent on?
I trust them.
Yeah.
Like I get say as in the group of us, whoever's playing says. So what I do through this process, it was easier the second, third, and whatever time, because I ended up being on the board of the ACF. They wanted somebody that was a fundraiser on their board. So it was an honor. I got voted on the board. So then it was really easy because I knew all the information.
Right.
I knew exactly what was needed, what needed to be purchased, and just gaining the information from not me, but really smart people.
Right.
Like these researchers, these people that are trying their best to do what they can, gaining all of that information, giving it to the 40 players and saying, what do you think you want to do?
Right.
And
do they just echo it back to you and be like, you're the expert now?
Well, you know what? These are smart men and women that they're dove into cancer, because in order to play, they have to either be battling cancer themselves, they have to have lost someone through cancer, or know someone who won the battle.
Right.
But you can't just play if you don't have a really good or bad cancer story.
Right. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
what percentage are returnees year after year? 80%.
Yeah. The only reason they don't is because we're getting old.
Yeah.
I was one of the younger ones.
And you're getting old, the games are getting longer.
Yeah, the games are getting longer. So, but it's pretty much the same people that have been playing. I joke that it's probably easier to make the Oilers roster than this one, because nobody wants to quit. It's the same people that are playing, and a week after each game they say they'll never play again, but give them a few years and they're back in again.
A few of the Oilers came by and visited it.
Yeah.
What did that mean to the people that were
It means a lot. To me, what it says is there's an understanding. We had Oilers there, we had Eskimos there, and we had some Oil Kings I missed apparently, but I didn't get to see them. And what that tells me is that our community understands that we're out there doing something for our community. So the Oilers are there for us, the Eskimos, they're there for us, but as well, we're there for them. It's vice versa. And it's very symbiotic. The players and coaches and managers and people that came out, and trainers from both teams that came out, they just wanted to come and help. I never thought for a second that anybody was out there to be on the news. I never thought anybody was doing something to whatever, make a statement.
Yeah, to show up, to show off.
Right. Yeah. It was, and when you're tired and sitting there, it actually perks you up.
I bet.
These are our heroes too.
Yeah. No matter how cool you play it, Connor McDavid walks in, you're kind of like, shit, that's the best player in the world right now. Boys, let's go toughen up.
Yeah, let's kick it up here. No, it means a lot to everybody. It means a lot because it was nice when there was some kids around there and stuff. So having Nurse and McDavid, out there to these kids is when are they going to get to stand beside them and watch a hockey game?
Right. In like a loose, casual environment.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to meet the player after the game. It's, you know, there's a camera and media all there, but
so I mean, having that best 85 team all around at the same time was amazing.
Perfect.
Because we saw that was just, I'd like to say good planning, but that was just good.
How many of those guys showed up?
Oh, geez, quite a bit. 8, 9, maybe.
Unreal.
Yeah.
The best team of all time in the NHL.
Yeah. Lee Fogelin gave me a jersey signed by the whole team, and I thanked him and I said, we're going to get a lot of money on the auction for this. He said, on one condition, you can have this. I said, what's that? He said, you don't get to do that. He didn't want, he said, Brent, this is for like your players, this is to hang in your room.
Right.
This is the best team in the world of all time, and I know you can make some money off that. It means a lot to everybody that signed this thing that it's for you guys. This is our gift to you guys.
Of course, that's really nice of him to do, because obviously you're the type of guy that anything you get, you're gonna give back, right?
That was
in
the
that
plan. And I get to keep it. I was excited about that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So every year you guys increase the length. Is that right? You go bigger, better, more intense, more exposure, and it just keeps growing. So you set the record at, now I think it was 251 hours, 9 minutes.
Yeah.
10 days total.
Is that what it is exactly? My sister and a guy we call Zambarni, in high school his nickname was Barney.
Yeah.
Best friend from high school. So he runs a Zamboni crew, so we call him Zambarni.
Yeah.
And they're the only two that know the exact count right now. Brenda submits everything to Guinness, which will probably be done in about a week. And then about 6 months from there, we get a thing back saying we either officially broke the record or didn't, and here's the time that you
What do they look at? Do you know?
Everything. It's crazy. If you came to ref on a Wednesday night, and then you came to rep on a Friday night, and they looked at your signatures and they didn't look alike, there's no record.
Come on.
Yeah. Wow. If you came to volunteer scorekeep, if you like, it's not even just the playing of playing the game. It's everything.
It has to be everything officially there for the entire time.
Yeah. We have to video the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we send a video of the whole game, and on that video, if we're out there. The thing with Guinness is they tell you have to play in the spirit of the game. So if we're out there and some guy's just leaning on the boards and just kind of leaning on the boards, that's not the spirit of the game. So the players know that. You can't do that. Like I have to run around screaming sometimes, just if guys are visiting with their friends or wives or whatever a bit, I go,
every shift's a real shift.
Every shift is a shift. You've got time to visit after. Let's keep playing it. It's not, now keep in mind, it's not fast hockey.
Right. No. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. So you're out there and you're playing, but that's not true though. When at 3 a.m, it's not really fast hockey.
Yeah.
At Saturday afternoon when there's bands playing and there's probably 500 people out there hanging out and screaming and hollering, you play a little bit more.
Right, of course, you show up for the fans.
Yeah.
So how does it work? Like, what are some of the nitty-gritty details about like a player? So you're a player in this game. How long are you on the ice for, on the bench? Like, when do you get to eat? Like, do you get to sleep? Like, these are some of the questions that aren't necessarily answered to the public.
Yeah, so in essence, our schedule is designed, well, we played this game, my brother-in-law had passed away a year ago, so we hung up his jersey and retired his jersey and stuff. So number 73 was everywhere, and but he was the mastermind, mathematician of all. He was a math teacher, so he masterminded this schedule that gave everyone the exact same breaks, gave exact same sleep times. Even different schedules for goalies to come in and out on. Like, for instance, you would start, well, my first shift on Friday morning which was a bugger because I should have looked at it. I should have given it to someone else. Just teasing. If I can't take the shift, then no one else gets it. That's the rule. But looking at that, I go, it's 7.5 hours. So we started at 8 in the morning, and then I played for 7.5 hours. I had a 6-hour break. Then I played for 6 hours. I had a 4-hour break, and then 4 hours, and then an 8-hour break. So kind of the math is you get a longer period of time a couple of times, and then you get one good rest, one sort of 8-hour break in there. Every day and a half roughly you get a good 8-hour break. So
what's the hardest point in the 10 days? What's the third day? That's
easy. That's just, it's awful because you're spending time weeks prior to get ready, so everybody's still tired entering the game, and then the first day is just adrenaline. It's fun. The second day you start to see a blister start, and then the third day is just because nobody's trains. There's not one person out there that trained for this thing. And most people leave their gear from last game because a lot of the players don't play hockey on a regular basis. So I put my skates on Friday at 8 in the morning. The last time I had them on was 3 years ago.
No way.
I didn't skate for 3 years.
Now, is that something you'll put them away for the next couple of years?
I'll skate a little bit more. My kids, I like going out with my kids and kind of getting the rink ready. And,
of course,
and they skate and that. But I don't like playing hockey that much. So, I just don't like hockey.
I wouldn't guess, but I mean that speaks even more to how amazing of a feat it is that you're able to do that.
But yeah, by that third day, it's really what it hits is that mental thing where you start to go, Jesus, we have 7 more days of this.
What did I get myself into?
Yeah, and then by the 4th day, it's awful. 5th day is like, okay, it's the hump day.
Yeah.
It's because each one of these days isn't so much your body, it's just your mind trying to, you're like, okay, I can get a 2-hour nap today. I'm going to go take my 2-hour nap right now. And so you'll skate 14 to 16 hours of hockey in a 24-hour period is roughly how it works.
Right. So what are some secrets you've developed over the years?
Duct tape
for blisters.
Yeah. So I would always, most players, some guys, I don't know, it's amazing. They just put their skates on and go and no blisters.
Right. Well, what kind of skates are you rocking? How old are these skates?
Yeah, I know.
They've got new form fitting, heat molds. You might look into that.
Maybe it's a good idea. But so the duct tape, putting it on the areas where you might get a blister, heel, ankle, that kind of stuff. There's lace bite, kind of like that material from your helmet. We cut that up and stuff it just in front of our skins for our shins for lace bite. And don't sharpen your skates. Right. Nobody really sharpens because you glide better on a dull skate.
Of course, yeah. And if it's not a hard, fast game, you don't need sharp edges.
Yeah. So and in that, something we learned is I have to have hard, fast ice. So when I flood it, it's not just dumping water. Most outdoor rinks, you just kind of dump the water as fast as you can, and it goes on, and you spray a bit, and it's done. But I'll just get a base, and then I have to do the rest, just whatever layer of Zamboni is, till I get about 1.5 foot of ice. And within that, it's warm water. That ice is incredibly hard.
Right.
So even if it's warm weather, it doesn't melt that quickly. It's just very thin layers of water and all that kind of stuff. It helps.
What do you eat during the 10 days?
Everything.
Yeah. Whatever you can get your hands on.
Oh, well, it's amazing the food that we get. Every restaurant in Sherwood Park, I think, gave us food.
Nice.
At least more than once.
So you get variety, most importantly.
Oh, yeah. They hired a new girl here in the office this year. And so I went to Carly. I said, this longest hockey game, part of the job is you get involved in something. And I said, for you, she's worked here a week. I said, for you, you're in charge of the meals. Oh, okay, what's involved in that? I said, well, you have to get meals for 50 people 3 times a day for 10 days. Well, how do I do that? And I said, I don't know. Well, what if I can't?
How bad do you want this job?
I said, Well, I'm leading her on a bit. But I said, what happens if I can't do that? I said, we don't eat. And I mean, think about it. We're out there skating for 10 days for cancer for kids.
Yeah.
We should eat. So the poor girl was almost in tears. But I let her off the hook about an hour later, saying, here's people that have given us food before.
Right.
Here's some contacts. And
You gave her the outline of what to do.
Yeah. She felt a little bit better after that.
That's unreal. So you tallied about 1.2 as of today. And when do you announce the official total? When does Guinness kick in the official record? And then what's coming up next?
Yeah, so we'll hopefully within a month we should have the exact dollar value, and within 6 months I should have Guinness's thing, good or bad. And next step is a baseball game. So from there, I'm in the back of our property, I'm building a baseball diamond. And we played the longest baseball game about a year and a half ago out at it was at Telus Field at the time. I think it's called Remax Field now.
Right. Yeah.
So,
how long was that one?
It's like 3 days or something like that. It wasn't that long. 88 hours or something like that.
Is that a lot easier than the hockey?
No, it's harder.
Really?
It was way harder.
Even though you don't have the skates and the cold and.
There's no way you can play 10 days of baseball.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's the injuries were worse. You're standing and then you're running, so you're tearing a hamstring.
Right.
You're rolling an ankle. Like I didn't believe that either. But a lot of the players that played hockey played baseball, and they said, you can't do 10 days of baseball.
Interesting.
That'll never be done.
I learned something new today.
Yeah. Well, part of it too is pitching. Everybody, you could play a lot longer than 3 days if every single player on both teams could pitch a lot.
Right.
But the way we had it set up, we had about 6 or 7 pitchers only that we knew could throw strikes and that. So that's you could maybe go 5 days. But baseball's next. I'm building the ball diamond now.
So is that this year?
This year I'll build the ball diamond.
Yeah.
Hopefully we play next year.
Okay. And then when's the next hockey game?
So I think if the timing works, we'll play baseball in kind of 2 years, and then 2 years will be hockey, then baseball, then hockey, and it'll just
You're like the Summer Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So the thing too is there's with hockey, I don't want to keep going to the well of sponsors and stuff that we ask. That I know how that works, and I can't just go every year and say, hey, give me 20 grand, that type of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And the interesting thing with baseball is it is a new group of guys. There's maybe half are new people that don't play hockey, and within that there's a whole sort of group of fundraising that they sort of know and do and that kind of thing. So we're not knocking on the same door each
That's
time.
Good.
And thankfully the city still supports us in our endeavors and that.
Would you ever franchise and go out to like the world's longest, like a bunch of different things?
We've tried. I've tried to
World's longest ping pong tournament.
Oh yeah.
Tennis. Cricket.
I thought when you meant like I've tried to play world's longest hockey game with other cities at the same time.
Yeah.
That's really what I would love to do.
Right, of course.
And just all in at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And if we can do that nationally, that would be amazing. They do it with pond hockey, and I think that would be something that would interest me down the road to be able to do.
Interesting. Well, I know there's lots of people who'd love to help with that.
Yeah. I need to get a hold of people in New Brunswick and all
across the country.
Yeah.
And then go international down in the States.
Yeah.
So most important question when we wrap up here is where can people get more information? Where can people go to donate to the cause?
worldslongestgame.com. Right now our website is linked to the ACF, which will direct you to donate and stuff, and it's got some cool stories on there and some neat pictures and whatnot, just to kind of look it up. The program that the money is going to this year is called Profile, which is through the Terry Fox Foundation, It's a $22 million project to do cross country, and Alberta's sort of ticket for that to be able to run in Alberta is $2 million. So we didn't raise quite our $2 million. The program is gonna get up and running. It's amazing because with kids with cancer, what they haven't been able to do before is genetically map that cancer. Mm-hmm. Well, through research in Calgary and Edmonton, actually, they found out how to do that. So now they map this child's cancer cell, and they can compare it to someone in Toronto and New Brunswick, and say to that person, well, okay, we tried this in Toronto, it didn't work.
Right.
They have the same genetic map.
Okay.
Don't do this treatment.
Right.
And
so it expedites sort of the treatment
100%.
process, cuts down the options.
The spokesperson that I talked to here in Edmonton, he's been through I don't even know how many surgeries and chemo and radiation, you name it all, and in what his program is now set, his treatments will be cut in half just because of what's going to go on. And that, I mean, what does that mean for anybody? But to have kids that their bodies aren't as strong as they can be yet, and their treatments, a lot of times the treatments give them problems. So,
right.
So this will definitely make a big difference in what they're doing.
Amazing. Well, Brent, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
And thanks for everything you're doing. I mean, it's an amazing cause and an amazing event, and look forward to the next one.
Done.
All right.
Thanks.
See ya. Guys, you heard the man, worldslongestgame.com if you want to donate to the cause. Also, since he didn't plug it, I will, but Dr. Saik's optometrist practice is called Alberta Sports Vision. Go to them if you need any help with your peepers. Take care. Have a good week.